Over the course of the last several months, I've had to be on an insane amount of eye drops. These are their stories. Now, the first one of these shady characters that I will be introducing to you all is Acid Dick Tim, also known as timolol maleate of the maleate crime family. An ophthalmic solution used to treat glaucoma and other forms of hypertension in the eye. I was told he was someone I could trust, and the person who told me that was wrong. To be fair, it was a voice in my head, so I probably shouldn't have listened to it. The maleate case was my longest stint undercover. I met with timolol 2 to 4 times a day for 7 months. We got closer than we should have. I was so young back then. So innocent. Glaucoma rates were rising rapidly, and I was getting a lot of pressure from the DA. Timolol was going to be my way in. I managed to work my way up through the family and became a trusted bodyguard. And I soon learned where the name of Acid Dick Tim came from. That bitch hurt like a motherfucker. However, despite the pain, I persisted with the false promise that I would be able to lower glaucoma rates. They remained 3.5 times over the healthy limit. However, without timolol's input, fucking acid in my eyes, it is possible that the entire ocular operation could have exploded. Now, don't get it twisted. Timolol and I were never close in a loving way. We had a hate-hate relationship. However, the rest of the maleates thought I could be a good influence on him. You see, he was the youngest member, spoiled, never left his room. A classic Mountain Dew, Call of Duty, Discord shut-in. He decided that we should share the same room. And I became more of a personal assistant than a bodyguard because truthfully, nobody really gave a fuck about timolol. About 4 months into the operation, we had started to be bickering like a married couple that didn't get divorced because divorce was illegal. I learned a lot about Tim. I learned that he didn't like to be called Tim and would have preferred the nickname of Olol. So I continued to call him Tim. His favorite food was pineapple. He liked the feeling of Cheeto dust on his fingers. Sometimes I would buy him a bag and he wouldn't even eat it. Just stick his hands in and rummage. Over time, I got used to his acidic personality. I even started to relish it in a way because it made me feel like I was doing something. But things were comfortable. And I got to sit around all day. But that was where I made my fatal mistake. I got comfortable, forgot about the purpose of the mission. And seeing as I couldn't go anywhere without timolol, and he never wanted to leave his room, I ended up missing some crucial doctor's appointments. Truthfully, even if I could have left my room, I wouldn't have been able to afford them. Ultimately, I gambled with my health, and I lost that gamble to the tune of nearly $20,000. Now, when you owe someone in the healthcare industry that much money, people come a-sniffing, people come a-knocking. I thought I had more time. I really did. But medical debt like that paints a target on your back, especially for the maleate crime family. Now, they were a classier operation than your typical crime family. High-end dinners, dirty handshake deals, behind closed doors with a charcuterie board in there just because, people gotta eat. And timolol, turns out that we all underestimated timolol. See, I had just gotten a break in the case that was gonna blow the whole glaucoma situation wide open. Literally, I was gonna get a hole in my eye to make it stop. But following this lead took my attention away from my charge, who ended up finding one of my unpaid medical bills. And then I was his puppet. I guess more of a puppet than being an employee, which is already pretty puppet-like. And when I returned, timolol, sitting in the dark room, I have a proposition for you. Timolol explained that he was beginning to feel pressure from his family to make something of himself, to join the family business. And timolol had no interest in that. But he also had no interest in giving up his cushy lifestyle. So he had concocted a plan. Several highly expensive life insurance policies on every member of his family. And the family was having a reunion of sorts. And timolol wanted my help in turning it into a red wedding. And in return, I would get access to all of the family's secrets. But if I did not comply, or if I tried to run, he would blow my cover, and I would have a crime family and debt collectors coming after me. I was at my limit, and the lead that I thought I had to fix my glaucoma had to be postponed. By this point, it was clear I had to communicate with my superiors. And this was when I was informed that I had been dropped from my health insurance. They couldn't cover me for this one. But I owed them money, so they could still boss me around. And they told me to prevent timolol's plan. Because, of course, as it turns out, my bureau was just as corrupt as this family was. And they needed the Maliates to grease the wheels. You know how it goes. I had to play my cards carefully. And on top of that, my good eye was beginning to go. But my way out came in the nick of time. At this celebration, with the drinks flowing freely, I overheard one of the DA's dirty little secrets. Let's just say it rhymes with schmorting schmocaine. Now, he claimed that it was medicinal for his glaucoma. Glaucoma was everywhere in those days. Everywhere you looked. Sometimes I think that I hear it creeping up behind me. Now, this meant I had an exit strategy. I was going to be graciously given my health coverage back. But then I would be walking away empty-handed. I'd be taken out. Timolol would be someone else's problem, which would be quite nice. But the case would not be closed. I would have made no progress. I had to get my hands on that dossier. Which really wasn't hard, because Timolol waved it around in my face when trying to get me to agree to the deal, and then set it on his desk as if I would just not take it. So, I just went down there and grabbed it. But I had once again underestimated Timolol, who had gotten wind that I was reluctant to follow through with his plan of spiking the punch with poison. So the bastard rigged the sprinkler system with acid. His entire family completely perished. Burned to a crisp. I kind of had to wade through like a gelatinous mess of bodies to get out. Those boots are long gone. I knew that I was probably going to go down for this at some point. I was going to end up on the run. That dossier was only going to protect me for so long, as I had many enemies inside and out of the bureau. And I knew Timolol. I knew him well. And if he was capable of some fucked up shit like this, I would be breaking my oath if I allowed him to continue roaming the streets, or his Discord servers. So with my handcuffs still hidden somewhere in my body, pulled him out, and I took him in. Timolol Maliate is now serving 4 consecutive life sentences for domestic violence, domestic terrorism, terroristic threats, and modifying a sprinkler system without a license. That one really cinched him. He was transferred to solitary confinement maximum security after proving that he posed a danger to the inmates. Be warned, you're about to see the visage of a man who killed 37 members of his own family in cold blood and acid.
Get those cameras out of my face. What's the Wi-Fi password?